It is no secret to longtime fans of the channel that trading card games have been a big influence in my life, both on and off the channel. In this series, both DemonBattler and myself will be opening 24 packs, or one box, of each core Yu-Gi-Oh! Booster set in chronological order. After each opening, we will build decks from all of the cards we have opened thus far, then duel each other in a best-of-3 match with 3 prizes up for grabs to improve our decks. The winner will receive 2 of those prizes, and the loser will get 1. The possibilities for prizes are almost limitless, including single cards, sealed product, structure decks, and much more. Every card in the entire game's history will be obtainable in some form. However, neither of us will be able to rest on past laurels easily. The ever-changing official Forbidden and Limited list, our own choices of cards to be banished to the Shadow Realm, and even changes to the very rules of the game will keep our decks and duels fresh. This is yet another Yu-Gi-Oh! Progression series. By now you may have realized we have planned out changes to the rules of the game in theme with each arc of Yu-Gi-Oh! The changes we have planned for the 5Ds arc are the most sweeping changes yet. The first duel of the 5Ds arc, and every other duel after that, until the end of the arc, will be a turbo duel. While motorcycles are not in any way involved, almost every other aspect of a turbo duel will be. What is a turbo duel, you ask? In a turbo duel, both players will search their decks for a copy of Speed World 2 and activate them as a pre-game action. Both copies will remain on the field. This is an exception to the current field spell rule. These field spells cannot leave the field for any reason. Speed World 2 reads as follows. Spell cards cannot be activated except speed spell cards. Once per turn during the standby phase, place 1 speed counter on this card, maximum 12. You can remove speed counters from this card and reveal 1 speed spell card from your hand to activate these effects. 4 counters. Inflict 800 damage to your opponent. 7 counters. Draw 1 card. 10 counters. Target 1 card on the field. Destroy that target. Most speed spell cards will either require the player to have a certain number of speed counters to activate the card, or remove a certain number of speed counters as an activation cost. No speed spell cards will be forbidden or limited, including the ones banned via the Hall of Eternity. Extremely powerful forbidden cards are balanced by hefty speed counter activation costs. Most normal, quick play, and ritual spell cards will have speed spell versions available for play. For instance, Fisher becomes Speed Spell Fisher, gaining an activation requirement of having 4 or more speed counters. There is also a small pool of trap cards that can only be played in turbo duels, such as Acceleration Zone and Speed Booster. For the purposes of collection tracking, both players will have access to the same number of the speed spell cards as that player has of their respective official TCG equivalent. For instance, a player with 2 copies of Book of Moon will have access to 2 copies of Speed Spell Book of Moon during turbo duels. There is also a small list of speed spell and speed counter affecting trap cards that do not have official TCG equivalents, such as Speed Spell The End of the Storm. The list of cards you see on screen are cards both of us will have access to 3 copies of. Duelist Revolution was released August 17th, 2010. This set introduced the Scrap archetype, a synchro-based archetype about recursion and destroying its own cards for value. This set also released support for the Amazonas, Naturia, and Watt archetypes. This set had a lot of cards that impacted constructed at high rarities, but as far as low rarity cards, there's not a ton to talk about, but we do have a lot of sets that came out around this time, so I'll try to go through the cards as quickly as possible. The first noteworthy common that we have is AD Changer. Now, AD Changer can be banished from your graveyard to target any monster on the field and change its battle position. This is one of the things that I've been looking for to play Empty Jar. If we can pick up a Morphing Jar out of a starter or structure deck, we'll have a near full power empty jar deck that we should be able to get a couple free wins with before Demon bans something out of it. And then next we have something that I've been very excited to talk about, which is the Amazonas support. Amazonas gets a ton of support. It's all at relatively low rarity. The highest support that we have for this archetype in the set is at super rare, and a lot of the cards from Magician's Force are going to have new life breathed into them. Amazonas Sage, if it battles and survives battle, you get to destroy a back row on your opponent's field. This can be pretty good for sniping some counter traps. And then Amazonas Trainee gains 200 attack permanently when it destroys a monster by battle. It'll mostly be played in the deck for the name. Amazonas Fighting Spirit is one of the cards that makes the Amazonas archetype go. It is a continuous spell that when any Amazonas monster attacks a monster with higher attack, the attacking monster gains 1000 attack during damage calc only. This will let it attack over a ton of big monsters, and this is a 3 of that we will play in the Amazonas deck if we're able to get it together. Now at the rare slot, we do have a couple of cards that I would like to go over as well. Amazonas Village is the field spell for the Amazonas archetype. This gives all Amazonas monsters 200 attack, and once per turn when an Amazonas monster is destroyed by battle or card effect and sent to the graveyard, you get to special summon an Amazonas from your deck with a lower level, or equal to. So this will cause you to replace one monster on the field with one monster from your deck every time something gets destroyed by battle or card effect. This is very powerful and will see play in the archetype. Amazonas Willpower is Call of the Haunted for Amazonas monsters. However, it does force the monster to be in attack position and it must attack if possible. We do have a copy of Call of the Haunted, and we're going to be getting multiple copies of it soon, but that's going to be good until we get there. Amazonas Scouts is a great search off of Amazonas Village. As a quick effect, you contribute this card to make all of your Amazonas monsters unable to be targeted by monster effects or destroyed by card effects. This is very powerful to be able to deal with board breaking tools, which can be a big issue for the archetype. Now, a lot of the super impactful cards in this set, unfortunately, are at high rarity. But we should be able to get a couple of those just because we get 24 packs. We're going to get 6 to 7 holos on average, so hopefully we'll snipe some of the good ones. The Scrap Archfiend is the biggest Synchro 7 to date. It's a 2700 Synchro 7, and it's a vanilla. That can have implications to be able to dodge cards like Fiendish Chain, because Fiendish Chain has to target effect monsters. Amazonas Queen is one of the big payoffs for the Amazonas archetype. It's a 1 tribute 2400 that prevents all of your Amazonas monsters from being destroyed by battle. This combined with an Amazonas Tiger can make it very difficult to have your board broken. Amazonas Heirloom is the last card I'd like to discuss in the super rare slot. This can only be equipped to an Amazonas monster. It stops the monster from being destroyed by battle once per turn, and then if it attacks a monster after damage calc, you get to destroy that monster. This is very powerful in archetype as well. And then last we have Amazonas Shamanism, which destroys all of your face-up Amazonas monsters. Then you can special summon any number of level 4 or lower Amazonas monsters from your graveyard in face-up defense position, equal to the number of monsters that were destroyed by the effect. Now, this can be quite good for just getting your big Amazons back out. And the ultra rare slot is where most of the power is in this set. There are 4 very powerful ultra rares that I would like to go over. The first one, and the one that we're going to be looking for the most, is Effect Veiler. So Effect Veiler reads, during your opponent's main phase as a quick effect, you can send it from your hand to the graveyard to negate a targeted effect monster's effects until the end of the turn. This still sees play in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! And this is something that if we get an ultra rare craft, we are going to be heavily inclined to spend it on this, because this is going to get better the farther we get into the progression series, and it's still going to be good now. It's also a pinch tuner, which is really nice. And then the next really good ultra rare I would like to go over that we will be chasing is Scrap Dragon. Scrap Dragon is a 2800 Synchro 8. It's completely generic, and then once per turn you can target 1 card on each side of the field and destroy them. And then it has some trinket text if you're actually playing the Scrap archetype, but this is just a 2800 Synchro 8 that has removal attached to it. this will go in extra decks. And then Wat Chimera is the boss monster for the Wat archetype. It's a 1400 Synchro 6 that's a direct attacker. When it inflicts damage to your opponent by a direct attack, you get to place a random card from your opponent's hand on top of the deck. So this can set them back draw phases and is quite powerful if you can make it. It requires Wat Tuner, and then the non-tuners have to be Thunder type, but it is very powerful in the archetype. This archetype is not quite playable yet. We're waiting on a couple of cards that will come out in later sets, but then the archetype is perfectly serviceable. And then we have the big one in this set, Solemn Warning. So Solemn Judgment got limited around this time and is going to get banned pretty soon. So Solemn Warning was a fair Solemn Judgment. So this negates normal summons, flip summons, or special summons, or any effect that activates that includes the effect that special summons monsters. At the cost of 2,000 life points, you get to negate that effect and destroy the card. This card still sees plenty of play today, especially in back row oriented decks. And then the last card that I'd like to discuss in this slot is Chivalry. This can be activated during the battle phase. When the effect of an opponent's effect monster is activated, you get to negate the effect and destroy the monster. Now, this is not a staple, but this could wind up seeing quite a bit of play if one of us gets it. And then we have the Secret Rare slot. The Secret Rare slot has the first instance where Konami blatantly printed a universal staple at its highest rarity, which is something that Konami has not done since reintroducing the Secret Rare slot, and that is Pot of Duality. This was a $150 card when Duelist Revolution was released, and it completely redefined how the game was played. So Pot of Duality lets you get the best card out of the top 3 cards of your deck, and then you cannot special summon during the turn you activate it, but that card selection is super, super important. And then the last secret rare I'd like to discuss is Stygian Street Patrol. Now, this is not good now, but this will see a lot of play in Fiend-based archetypes later on, as once this is in your graveyard, it is a free extender. This lets you banish it from your graveyard, and then you can special summon a Fiend monster with 2,000 or less attack from your hand. This can very easily go into Xyz plays, into Link plays. This still sees a fringe play in some archetypes today. But we have some promos to talk about as well. There was a very busy release schedule. We have a couple magazine promos to discuss. The 100 Eyes Dragon, which you might remember towards the end of 5D's Season 1. This was Callan Kessler's boss monster. It has almost all of its effects that it did from the 5D's arc. It just has pretty restrictive summoning conditions. It requires a Dark Tuner, and the non-tuners have to be Fiend type. This could wind up seeing play depending on what we end up getting for Turbo Duels, because it is a 3k Synchro 8 if you have the right materials for it, and then if your opponent answers it, you get to search an Earthbound Immortal from your deck to your hand. And both of us have this, so whoever wins this could be at a big advantage for the last Turbo Duel, because Duelist Revolution is our second to last Turbo Duel. And then we also have another magazine promo as well in the form of Alector, Sovereign of Birds, which isn't bad. If your opponent controls 2 or more face-up monsters of the same attribute, you can just special summon this card for free. This could actually wind up going in Blackwing, just because it's a free 2400, and makes it very easy for the deck to go into Synchro 8s and eventually 9s. And then once per turn, you can get a free effect negate for a turn. So this is something we're going to be taking a look for, and we are going to be divvying up these magazine promos at the end of the episode. And then we have one more magazine promo, which is Golem Dragon. It's a 2k defender that is an attack lockout if you have 2 of them, but we're not going to get 2 of them because this is only available in a single turbo pack outside of this one distribution, so it's extremely unlikely that we will be getting more than 1 copy of this card. But this was not the only release. We had a ton of releases. We have the Starter Deck Duelist Toolbox, which is the 3rd 5D starter deck released. While there aren't a ton of great cards, there are some noteworthy ones. This is our only access to X-Saber Wayne, which is a generic 2100 Synchro 5 that lets you special summon a warrior-type monster of level 4 or lower from your hand when you make it. This is the only chance we'll have to get this card. Junk Destroyer is okay, and then we get some other staples. Giant True Knight I already have, Card Destruction I already have, and then there's a Gaia Knight, which is okay. I'm not super excited about this, so I am not going to fret if we end up losing this. But we have a bunch of booster sets as well. Turbo Pack 3 was released on July 10th of 2010, and this has some pretty strong reprints. Unfortunately, we won't be taking this pack just because of a wrinkle in the release schedule, but this has some pretty cool commons in it. It has a DD Crow reprint, Quakimeru Drago at common, which is a really nice. War Chariot would be sick, but Gladiator Beast is currently not on the table because of the Bestiari ban. And then at the rare slot, we have some of the X-Sabers that are hard to get, a Magical Android reprint, and then the ultimate rare is Caius the Shadow Monarch. So there are some pretty strong cards. Unfortunately, we won't be seeing this pack due to some details with the release schedule. We also had a Hidden Arsenal come out at this time. Hidden Arsenal 2 was released on July 15th, 2010, and it introduced support for the Ally of Justice, Fabled, Gen X, Ice Barrier, Jurak, Naturia, and Worm archetypes. This Hidden Arsenal is pretty weak. It only has a couple of cards that are worth talking about. One of them is Naturia Beast, the other one is Duelist, Tiger King of the Ice Barrier. Naturia Beast requires all Earth materials, and it is a free negate for a spell card just by milling 2 cards. This is a very powerful synchro if you are playing a mono Earth deck. The Amazonas deck can splash some tuners to be able to do so with cards like Jute Fighter, and a 3 can go into this. I just don't know if it's going to be worth going into the pack to try to get this card, just because a Naturia Beast is a secret rare and you only get one of those per pack. It's the same with Dulorin. Dulorin requires non-tuner waters, but this card is extremely powerful for abusing continuous spells that have effects when they activate. This lets you return once per turn any number of face-up cards you control to the owner's hand, and then it gains 500 extra attack until the end phase for each card. So this is particularly powerful when we get continuous spell cards that have a secondary effect, but their main reason that you play them is for the effects that you get when you activate them. Fire Formation Tenki is very abusable with Dulorin, for instance. But this is the reason why we won't be opening this pack, because Gold Series 3 was released on June 18th of 2010, and boy does this have some reprints. This is a monumental duel for this exact reason. The entire Amazonas core and the entire Blackwing core get reprinted in this set. And we're really just one win away from having full power Blackwings. Because look at these reprints. Everything gets reprinted for Amazonas, including Swordswoman. Malicious gets in here. This is our first real access to Malicious. So if we win this duel, we'll be able to have 2 Malicious and use them for synchro plays, which is incredibly powerful. Chainmaster is a cool card as well. I think we already have one, but we could wind up getting one here, and then all the Blackwings get reprinted. Bora, Sirocco, Blizzard, Shura, Kalut, they just all get reprinted, and it's just amazing. Black Whirlwind is in here too. And then at the Gold Rare slot, boy do we have some bangers. We have Elemental Hero Prisma, which is our first real access to this card. Judgment Dragon, Mizuki, Plague Spreader Zombie, Ryo. Ryo would be big, because I don't have one, and that would be a great way to lock our opponent out of some of their especially search-heavy archetypes. Gale is in here, Stardust Dragon. This would be a hell of a way to get our first Stardust Dragon. We have Blackwing Armor Master, Blackwing Armed Wing, and then the rest of these are just rarity upgrades for what we already have. But if we can snipe another Plague Spreader Zombie, a Stardust Dragon, even Armor Master would be cool, but I'm mostly interested in just filling out the promos for the commons rather, for the Blackwing deck. And speaking of promos, there were a couple of releases that we wound up missing before. We did have a set of tins that were released that had just Duelist packs and then some promos. All the promos that were in those tins were of cards that were in core sets, so we do not get them. However, we did get 2 copies of Starlight Road into our collection, and Demon will have 1. Starlight Road negates any effect that destroys 2 or more cards you control at the same time, and then you get to special summon a Stardust Dragon from your extra deck. Now, this is not considered properly summoned, so you'll only get 1 negate off the Stardust Dragon, not 1 negate per turn. And this is not even that good for us because we don't have Stardust Dragon, but we do have 2 copies of this in our deck. And we did also pick up a structure deck as well at the end of the Shining Darkness. We got the Machina Mayhem structure deck. which I'm not super interested in, really. It has a couple of nice staples in it that we'll get access to. We'll get access to another copy of Dimensional Prison, which is the biggest. We get another Shrink, and then we get some gimmicky cards like Time Machine and Inferno Reckless Summon, but that's about it. Alright, 24 packs of Duelist Revolution. I'm not too excited about this set. It does have a lot of really strong cards, but they're mostly at high rarity. There are going to be a couple cards at low rarity we're looking for, but mostly we're going to be looking in that rare and hollow slot. So let's get started with our first pack, and nothing special out of here. And there's our first Fighting Spirit. That's a good start. I would like to play Amazonas because I have a lot of the cards for it. We unfortunately won't be able to play it today because today's duel is a turbo duel, but that may be something to consider once we get into Xyz format. And there's another Fighting Spirit. We've got 2. Really need to see 3 of that card though, because that card stacks if you have multiples of it. And that can make none of your monsters be able to be stopped by your opponents in combat. It's a lot of attack strength. There's the third Fighting Spirit. We're picking up some of the other Amazons as well, but a lot of the good Amazons are from Magician's Force, so we'll need to review our pulls that were in Magician's Force. We're also looking for some of the super rares as well. And we got our first ultra rare, and it's not a bad one. It's Watt Chimera. This is the boss monster for the Watt archetype. So if we wind up playing that, we will have that boss monster available. And there's another ultra rare. It is Thunder Unicorn. What does this even do? It requires a beast type tuner. It's a 2205. The non-tuners can be generic. During your main phase, you can sink an opponent's monster by 500, but no other monsters can attack. I guess if you have beast type tuners, it's playable. There's our first Amazonas Sage. This card isn't bad. It's backer removal if you can get your monsters to survive. And a lot of them, Amazonas monsters, are small on the defense anyway, so we can trip this ourselves just by playing a card like Laboku. Oh, baby, what a hit. That is an ultra we wanted to see. That is Scrap Dragon. I had this in Season 1, and it has come back. This is probably the best Synchro 8 that I have now, even better than Red Dragon Archfiend, just because we can strategically take out cards on our opponent's side of the board. I would say as far as sealed play goes, that is probably the best ultra rare, and maybe even the best card in the set. So we're 13 packs into this box, and there is a common that I still have not seen a single copy of, and that is AD Changer. I am very worried about not seeing that card, because we're just a Morphing Jar away from making that empty jar deck work almost to its full conclusion. We don't have the things that search Morphing Jar, but we have the rest of the skeleton. And our format is slow enough that that could wind up working very well. But in order to make that work, we do need those 3 AD Changers. And there's a super rare. It's Wiseman's Chalice. I don't think I've ever read this card. What does this card even do? That's actually not horrible once we get out of a Synchro era and onto Xyz era. This revives one of your opponent's monsters, and you give it to your opponent at the end of the turn, but it can't be tributed or used as Synchro material. So this could wind up being good once we have some Xyz plays that we have access to, but for right now, that card is not very playable. We did get our first copy of AD Changer, though. That's very, very important. I do want to see 2 more copies of that. Yo! There's one of the super rares I was looking for. That is Amazonas Heirloom. This is highly searchable off of some support cards for the archetype, as well as some generic equip support. I'm pretty happy to see that. We got another AD Changer too. That makes our second one. We just need to find the field spell. We need at least 1 copy of Amazonas Village. We have 3 terraforming to find it, but we do need at least 1 copy of Amazonas Village, and preferably Amazonas Queen as well, to play the archetype. And there's another super rare. That is Super Rush Recklessly. So this will destroy a beast-type monster you control, and then shuffle a monster your opponent controls into the deck. And there's another ultra rare. It is a Lightning Tricorn. I have never read this card either. This is an 8 that requires non-tuner beast-type monsters, and if it gets destroyed by your opponent's card by battle or card effect, you can get some of the other synchros that are high rarity. I believe we do actually have a Thunder Unicorn to get off of this, so this could wind up being really neat if we wind up with any sort of beast engine. And there is another Thunder Unicorn. What is with opening all the Ultras, but we just opened almost all the wrong ones? We've got one good Ultra, which is Scrap Dragon. Man, could you imagine if these were Effect Veilers? That is also our second copy of Amazoness Sage, which is important if we want to play that archetype. But we really need to hit Queen and at least one Village. We also haven't hit any Amazoness Willpower yet. And there's our third AD changer. That's really important. We have those on lock. We just need to get a Morphing Jar from somewhere, and then we will have a full empty jar deck that we may be able to OTK or even FTK Demon with if we can get lucky. Alright, so only a few packs left. I would say this has been, in terms of a raw holo luck, we've gotten a lot of holos, we just have gotten mostly the wrong ones. We did get an heirloom. I'd really like to see a queen to be able to make the Amazoness deck work. We still need some crafts, though, because we don't have the Amazoness villages, but all we need to do is get one of those and we should be fine for that archetype. I'd also like to see one more really strong card, so let's go ahead and open our third to the last pack. I think that's the 5th Dark Desert Aper that we've seen, which is very, very disappointing. I don't know why that rare is just glued to this box, but it is. So let's go ahead and crack our second to last pack. Oh my god, we got Amazoness Queen! Wow! We can make this work. We are just one Amazoness village away from being able to play Amazoness. We won't be able to play it in a turbo duel because of its reliance on village and the field spell, or the fighting spirit rather, but oh my god, we actually hit Amazoness Queen in the close. This might actually work. So then let's go ahead and crack open our last pack, see if we get anything amazing in the close. Doesn't look like it, but I'm pretty happy with what I got. We got just about everything I was looking for. We didn't get any of the secret rares. We didn't get Effect Veiler, but we'll have plenty of opportunities to craft one if we can keep winning duels. And even if we don't win duels, we still get cracks at the wheel. And I'm going to be going for wild cards for quite some time, depending on the outcome of this duel. But we have a lot of work to do, so I will see you in deck building. Since the Gladiator Beast deck very decisively got the boot, I needed to double back to my old strategy for turbo duels, which is Monarch. So here is our list. This should look very similar to the last list that we were playing, but we have had to remove some banned cards from our deck, so I'll take you down the card by card. We have one Caius, one Cyberjar, one Dandelion, one Kokapakapoo, our big finisher, one Guard, triple Spy, just to be able to flood the board, one Krebons, one Mobius, one Mystic Tomato, one of our newly crafted Plague Spreader Zombie. I felt a third tuner was necessary to get us access to our Synchro pool, because we can make Synchro 8s quite easily in this deck, as well as Synchro 7s with the Cyborgs. We have one Psychic Commander, which is our other E-Telly target, one Sandgen double Spirit Reaper. Whoa, hold up. So it's Riker Rider from the future here, and you might have noticed that I had 2 copies of Spirit Reaper in this deck. By the September 2010 ban list, Spirit Reaper is currently limited. So the reason why this happened is because due to the Gladiator Beast bans, I had to go back to one of my earlier Turbo Duel decks, which was that Monarch with Kokapakapoo. And in between the last time I had played that deck and this list, Spirit Reaper had gone from 2 copies to 1. I have no idea why Spirit Reaper is still limited in September 2010, but it is. It was an honest mistake, and I can assure you, without spoiling the details of the duel, having 2 copies of Spirit Reaper in my deck did not change the outcome of the game one bit. So I just wanted to make that clear that this was a mistake. It did not impact the outcome of the game, and with that, I hope you enjoy the rest of the episode. 1 Trag, 1 Witch of the Black Forest, and double Zaborg rounding out the monsters. For the spells, we have double Speed Spell Angel Baton. That's just going to be a staple of Turbo Duel decks, just for the rest of the 2 Turbo Duels that we have. I can't believe this is our second to last Turbo Duel. Then Speed Spell Emergency Teleport, Gold Sark, double Instant Fusion, 1 MST, double Speed Spell Shift Down to try to get that card draw going, And then 1 speed spell, the end of the storm for board wipe. And then for traps, we have a lot of them. 13. We have Call of the Haunted, Dark Bribe, Double Deep Prison, Triple Full Throttle, 1 Mirror Force, 1 Solemn Judgment, Double Speed Booster, which is one of our win conditions, Torrential Tribute, and then a card that we have had in our collection for a long time, but haven't really had the chance to abuse until now, which is Ultimate Offering. This card is banned in the TCG and is never coming back. This lets you, for 500 extra life points, or a payment of 500 life points rather, you get an extra normal summon for the turn. This is quite powerful, especially in some decks that we will be able to play soon. Imagine with Black Whirlwind, for instance, being able to normal summon multiple times per turn and get that extra value. Hoo-wee! And then for our side deck, we have triple DD Crow, double Stealth Bird, 1 Thestalos. I moved the Fires of Doomsday to the side because we only have 1 double tribute in here, that being Kokapakapu, but it is still good if we need to make more tokens. We have a Speed Spell MST, triple Blackhorn, 1 Dust Tornado, 1 Macrocosmos, and double Sakuretsu Armor. Very, very important to be able to out those Earthbound Immortals because DemonBattler has 3 of them now. And then in the extra, we have our 3 targets for Instant Fusion, plus 1 Thousand Eyes Restrict, in the event that we need to use Instant Fusion as removal. And then for the Synchros, we have AFD, Black Rose, a triple Iron Chain, and then Magical Android, 1 Red Dragon Archfiend, and 1 Scrap Dragon, the only card that we're playing from Duelist Revolution, but this is quite an 8. We can make this off of any Monarch that's not named Zaborg, and a 2, or we can make it off of a Zaborg and a 3. This will let me target 1 card on both sides of the field and pop them, and then the Lightning Tricorn and the Thunder Unicorns are just a flex. I am excited to get back to the track for the second to last Turbo Duel of the 5Ds arc. It is time to rev it up! So one thing I'd like to address before we get started with this duel is I know all the way back in Crimson Crisis I said that DemonBattler would get 2 ban tickets that were effective at the beginning of this episode. He has chosen to defer them to the end of the episode, which is why they haven't discussed yet. We haven't forgotten about them. He just is electing to defer them until the end of the episode.
Honestly, we were a little bit more than, let's say, about halfway through recording this to get set up anyway, when we figured this out. So yeah, I figured better to go ahead and wait until the end as opposed to doing it at the start and then either of us having to shift up our decks around. So, and it makes it a little easier overall too.
It does. Can you believe this is our second to last Turbo Duel?
I know, that's crazy.
Like 5Ds has just flown by.
Well, given the idea of what we're doing, I'd say more sped by.
Sure thing.
I'll see myself out for that one. Okay,
there we go. Paper Gang.
I deserve that.
Paper Gang finally wins one. I will take the play. Good luck, Duelist.
Good luck. Oh, right. I'm gonna remember this after we stop doing this.
This has been fun. It's definitely a lot different than regular duels.
This is tough to actually build for.
It is tough to build for because you have all these really powerful cards, but you have to remember that there's only so many resources you have. But I will go ahead and draw for the turn, move to the standby phase, move to the main phase. This hand's pretty bad. I am going to just set 3 and pass.
Ooh. Okay. Draw. Standby. Main. Question now becomes, what? See, this is the tough part, because I don't know what you have.
I got 3 back row, play through them.
True. Alright, let's start with some gambling. I'm gonna activate Mystical Space Typhoon. Let's hit the middle.
You got my Speed Booster.
Speed Booster. I don't think I remember this card. Let's see. When your speed counters exceed those of your opponent, once per turn you can negate an opponent's attack. Once per turn on your turn, you could deal damage equal to the difference. Oh, so you're going... Okay, so you're going speed... Like, speed focus then. Interesting. Okay, well, I'll run out a copy of Thunder King Ryo.
That's a pretty good card.
And I'm honestly debating, do I want to try to run in and deal with a back row, or do I want to just leave this here? You know what? I think I'll be smart. I'll set a card and I'll just pass the turn.
Sure. Draw for the turn, standby phase, main phase. I'm gonna set another back row and pass.
Riveting. Okay. Draw. Standby.
You know, drawing monsters helps.
True.
There are monsters in this deck, I swear.
I think I'm going to set a monster in defense, and I guess we'll go in for 19. I might as well try something.
19 it.
Okay. Main phase 2. I think I'll just end the turn.
Draw for turn, proceed to the standby phase, proceed to the main phase. I am going to set a monster. I finally drew one.
Alright.
And then I'm going to pass the turn.
Okay, so draw, standby, main. This is going to be interesting. Why not? I'll drop 2 counters and activate another Mystical Space Typhoon.
What do you
Let's hit the new set.
This is not what this is supposed to be for. I'm gonna bribe the MST.
Ooh.
Really want to protect that.
Okay, so that gets negated. I get to draw a card.
You do.
So what do you have face down then that matters? It wasn't a battle trick because, or at least not a standard battle trick because it got an attack through. I don't know. All right, let's go into battle and let's see what you've got under the hood.
So which
okay, that doesn't tell me much here.
Which is gonna get me? I'm gonna grab myself a copy of Caius.
Caius?
You forget I had that?
I kind of did, not gonna lie. Okay, now I'm really curious as to what the hell you're running, because I don't recall Blackwing decks typically running Caius, so you must have something else in mind. All right, I'll pass the turn.
Draw for the turn, proceed to the standby phase, proceed to the main phase.
Okay.
I'm going to activate Speed Spell Instant Fusion.
Instant Fusion?
Would you like to Ryo this?
What the hell are you...
hang on, we gotta go back. This Caius should actually be in my deck still.
Wait, why?
Witch of the Black Forest can't trigger. There's a Ryo on the table.
Oh, true. I completely forgot about that.
Hey, at least we caught it this time.
Yeah, honestly, I completely forgot that Ryo has that effect. I've never really had an instance where that actually happened, so... Okay, do you want to take back the Instant Fusion, or no?
No, Instant Fusion's fine.
Okay. Yeah, sure. I'll let it run.
Okay. I'm gonna grab Thousand Eyes.
Thousand Eyes.
And then with priority, I'm gonna suck up the Ryo.
Interesting. Okay. I'm actually really curious now. I was expecting this to go into some kind of synchro play, if anything.
Nope, I just needed to get the Ryo out of there. Then I am going to spend 6 to activate Speed Spell Shift Down.
Okay.
So draw.
Alright, that resolves.
Draw a couple. Oh, off the top. That was sick.
Oh, Zaborg. That's a good one. All right.
You can put that there. And then I'm gonna eat. Yeah, and then I'm gonna eat the PSC.
Yep, you got this. You got the zombie.
Go to battle.
All right.
24.
24.
Then after combat, I'm gonna set an additional back row and pass the turn.
Okay. Draw. Standby. Main.
Bet you didn't see Monarchs coming.
I did not. Interesting. Okay, so I don't know anything else in your hand, so that's good to know.
When in doubt, Monarch 'em out.
All right. I'm gonna go ahead and summon Blackwing Gale the Whirlwind.
You have a Gale.
And I'll cut its attack.
Yep, you can sink it. That's fine.
All right, might as well. Battle phase. Let's go in. Take him out.
100 it.
Main phase 2, I will set a card and throw it to you.
Draw for turn. Standby phase. Main phase. I'm going to set a monster. And then I will pass the turn.
Alright. Draw. Standby. Main. Alright, so I'm going to remove 4 speed counters and activate Speed Spell Angel Baton.
Seems okay.
Alright, let's see what I get here. That doesn't actually help as much as you would think. I think I'm going to send my negate attack to the graveyard.
Interesting that you're on negate attack.
Let's see. Okay, so battle. Let's see what you've got face down.
Take 7.
Actually, I won't. I'm going to
remove
the speed counter
you have
and
contrails? Yeah, that's fine.
But you do get another spy.
I do.
Main phase 2, I will set a card face down and pass the turn. Why'd you throw a counter up there?
Oh, cool, you missed it. I thought you were going to have the
Oh.
spy with Gale.
Oh. Honestly, I don't see the...
That was a misclick.
That's fine. I'll just do that.
Yep, now it's fixed.
Yep.
Standby phase, add a speed counter.
I mean, in fairness, there's no real point to it. You're just going to sack it off for a Monarch anyway.
You got that right. Mobius?
Yikes.
Eat the 2 outer back row.
You get my negate attack, but I'm also going to chain Ring of Destruction on your Mobius.
Rod, huh? That is fine. We both take 24.
This thing, thank God this thing is not eroded just yet.
I do have Call of the Haunted, though, for Mobius.
Okay.
Battle. 24 into the Gale.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Go.
Alright. Draw. Standby. Main. Interesting. I'm going to set a monster and pass.
Draw for turn. Standby phase. Main phase. I'm going to spend 2, and I'm going to space the back row.
Ooh. Okay, that's my Silver Contrails.
And Tribute Mobius for Zaborg. Pop your set.
Yeah, I'm not even going to let you see it.
I didn't think you'd want to bleed information.
Okay, so you've got 2 Zaborg. That's good knowledge.
When in doubt, Monarch 'em out.
Yeah, this is definitely not what I was expecting, and I'm paying the price for that.
It doesn't have the same ring as When in Doubt, Jund 'em out, but it's still pretty good.
There you are. Draw. Standby. Main. I'm going to set a card, and I will set a monster and pass the turn.
I do think that the turbo duels do lend themselves to more controlling strategies. You have a full throttle for me? Yeah, that's fine.
Yes, I do.
Like I was saying, I do think that the turbo duels do lend themselves to more controlling strategies.
Right.
I will reciprocate your T set and pass the turn.
Alright. Draw. Standby. Main. Ooh, there's a thing I can do. Question is, do I want to? Okay, first things first, I'm going to pay 2, and let's MST the back row.
Sure, you got my speed booster, which is not very good right now because I can't draw any of my copies of Full Throttle.
Okay, so what do I want to... I actually can't do that just yet, so... Okay, so I'm going to flip summon my Jane Lightsworn Paladin.
That's a Jane.
I'm going to run out a copy of Krebons.
That's pretty good.
And let's go ahead and sync away into... I guess Goyo's the best option, really, but... Part of me wonders when we're actually going to hit another 6 that's actually worth considering over Goyo, because, like, Gaianide's good, but Goyo is just hands down better.
I mean, Goyo is still the largest 6-star monster in the game to date.
True. Alright, let's see what you got.
Get mega punished.
Ooh, okay.
So, we have a couple things going on here. Because Cyberjar is a mandatory effect, that will be Chainlink 1, and Goyo will be Chainlink 2.
Well, I mean, that doesn't really change anything, because Cyberjar's just going bye-bye anyway, again.
Right.
So. Ooh.
You on.
Not bad.
I mean, it just looks like good stuff to me. This ain't bad, though. So we'll set the guard, and I'll put all of this in my hand.
Okay.
Those are probably cards you didn't want to see.
Let's see. How do I want to do this?
Because you have a Fool, a Plague Spreader, and a Witch.
I do have one thing I can easily handle here. So I'm going to summon the Witch, and then I'm going to add Plague and Fool to my hand.
And then just set them.
Yeah. We'll set that one there, and this one there.
Yep.
And Witch will go ahead and ram into the guard.
Okay. You want to use that Silver Contrails? Yeah, that is fine.
Yeah.
I am going to bounce this set.
There we go, to hand. All right. Main phase 2. I think I'm good. I will pass.
All right, draw for the turn. Let's proceed to the standby phase. Proceed to the main phase. Oh, this is going to be a beating. I am so sorry for you, Demon. Activate Instant Fusion.
1 second. So, Instant Fusion.
This is going to be such a beating. I am so sorry.
I am curious as to what the hell you're about to do, but I have no response. What are you about to... Wait a minute.
Eat the set.
Alright,
I'm going to just sack it off anyway. Because for whatever reason, Instant Fusion doesn't prohibit you from tributing the monster.
Which, I mean, makes sense. Hey.
Eat it.
Oh, for Kaias. Ooh, that's rough.
You take 1,000 too. And then battle phase. 36.
Yeah, that hurts, actually, a lot.
Main 2, I am going to set 1, 2, 3 cards face down. And I will pass the turn.
Okay. I know you have TT and Mirror. So, how do I go about this is the question. Boy, this actually is going to put me in a really interesting spot.
Yeah, this is a tough spot for you, I think. God, Instant Fusion into Thousand Eyes Restrict is such a beating.
Yeah, it is.
You know the worst part about this is that Instant Fusion treats it as a fusion summon, so I can call the Haunted this.
Yeah, you can, which is rough.
Gee, I wonder if that's why this card was banned for so long.
Well, I mean, in fairness, Instant Fusion probably was like, what's that? It could consider it? Hell no.
Little bit. This card is absurd.
I can at least run this out real quick.
That's pretty good.
Question is, what do I want to do now?
Clearly the answer is to normal summon Psychic Commander, Synchro for Stardust Dragon, and lose it to D-Prison.
Yeah, that's the worst part is the fact that, like,
D-Prison's gonna get banned, just watch.
Yeah, it's gonna get banned at some point soon. See, this is gonna be a tough one. Well, one, I know Torrential Tribute's there. So even if I go into Stardust, I'm not going to be able to capitalize on it. And even if I don't, you don't flip that, you have Mirror Force, I can't attack. I have something else I can do, but it doesn't matter because, again, you have TT, you have Mirror Force, and then if I do my other option, all it takes is you having literally almost any Monarch, and I am boned.
That's a tough situation, because if you make Stardust, that turns off Torrential Tribute and Mirror Force, but... you just straight up lose to D-Prison. Yeah. With not even counting what's in my hand, just with what's on board. Because if I do have a D-Prison and you attack into something, this is lethal.
Okay, I have an idea. I don't know if I necessarily like it. Okay, so after much deliberation, I'm going to go this route. I'm going to remove 4 speed counters.
Gonna go digging?
I'm going to activate Speed Spell Emergency Teleport.
That's... Yep, that is... A-okay.
And he's right on top. Thank God. So, Rai, one of my rewards that I got was a wild card from the tournament packs. I had all of the options I needed, but of them, one of my picks was a literal second Krebon.
Oh, I tell you what,
I pulled 1 as a comment, and I needed another.
You too? Oh, did you craft the super rare Krebons from Turbo Pack?
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's hilarious. I actually had to craft the second Krebons myself, too, because I also only pulled 1 out of the Duelist Genesis.
It's bold, isn't it? Like, it wasn't even a short print.
So, this is... I imagine this is probably Black Rose Dragon.
Yes, it is. So, boom?
Boom indeed. That is going to clear me out. You got my Speed Spell, The End of the Storm, my Mirror Force, my Speed Spell, Angel Baton. I did not set the TT.
Shit. Okay, that's a slight concern then.
That is the precise reason why I didn't set the TT.
I'll just set a monster and pass the turn, because, woof.
Standby phase, main phase. I'm just gonna set a back row, could be anything.
Could be anything.
I'm going to set a monster. Then I am going to remove 3 speed counters to activate Speed Spell Gold Sarcophagus.
Ooh, okay. That's going to be a rough one.
That
puts me on a real clock.
I'm going to grab Dandelion.
Oh, boy.
And then I'm going to pass the turn.
Thank God it does not work when banished either, because holy hell.
Oh, wait until we get to Dragon Rulers.
Don't remind me. Those things are gonna get banned like a mother real quick.
All of them.
Yeah, they're gonna be like, let me put it this way. If I am still on this losing streak by that point, those things are getting hit preemptively.
I'm still really surprised you haven't been able to snap this losing streak, because this has been nuts.
I'm honestly surprised, especially because it's been close. Like, yeah, we've had a couple of matches where it wasn't really all that much, but lately it has been fairly close.
Yeah, all the games have been close, just, like, in 5Ds, ever since Crossroads of Chaos, you've just been taking a beating.
Okay, I don't like this, but I have to dig, so I'm gonna pay 4 counters and activate Speed Spell Angel Baton.
Well, at least you're out of gas now.
Ew, that's not quite what I wanted to see. Well, I hate the fact that I have to do this. I wanted to use him so bad. He was in my opening hand. But I'm going to have to discard Earthbound Immortal.
I was wondering if you're going to have to pitch Kokopakatu soon.
I had him from the jump, and I was like, do I want to go into Black Rose and pop the board? Or do I want to go into, like, Special Summon and summon him? But knowing that you had Mirror Force, it's like, yeah, I can't do that because I'd be a complete idiot.
Yeah, if you go into Kokopakatu, you just lose to Mirror Force or D-Prison.
So, I'm just going to set a card and pass the turn.
Draw for turn, standby phase, main phase. I am going to... That's also one turn on Sark. I'm just going to set a back row.
Oy.
I'll end my turn, and then during your draw phase, I finally get one.
Okay. Main phase. This is putting me in a really tight spot. What do I want to do here exactly? I think I'm going to just set a card and pass.
Alright, draw for the turn. Standby phase. Get 2, and put this dandy in my hand.
Ugh.
Main phase.
This is gonna be rough.
I am going to set a monster. Could be anything.
Could be anything.
Then I'm going to set a back row and pass.
Alright. Draw. Standby. God. Why? Well, I say why, but, I'm going to set a card and I will pass.
What great gameplay this is.
I'll just toss my counter now.
Draw for turn, standby phase. Well, I'm maxed. Main phase. Oh, thinking. You have so many back rows, the problem.
So do you. And the worst part is, I know what one of your 2 back row is. So that makes it even harder for me.
I think I have to make some kind of progress here. So I think I'm going to flip summon Sangin.
Are you going to TT that?
Not with 3 back row. I'm going to remove 4 to speed spell E-Telly.
Ooh. Well, I mean, I did that too. I can't exactly complain.
Is that good?
That's good.
I'm going to get... The question is, what do I want to go into? Do I want to commit to Goyo is the question. And then get punished by your sack that's back there.
I feel like sack is number 2.
Because then I can go into... This is where having, like, Mistworm would be really nice. Because you know Dandy is a 3.
Right.
So then I could go into... If I had a Mistworm, then I could just bounce all your back row. But I do not have a Mistworm in my extra deck, unfortunately. I think I just need to commit to Goyo here.
Okay, so you're summoning Commander.
Anything on summon?
Summon's good. I don't like it, but summon's
Synchro.
good.
Apparently I forgot to put Goyo Guardian in my extra deck, so it's just Iron Chain.
Oh, for God's sakes. That sucks.
That's fine.
I've done that, but I've done that a couple of times with other
25
cards.
should be big enough, though. Then I am going to proceed to the battle phase. And this is a monster I can afford to lose to a sack. I mean, if you have a sack, you're probably going to use it.
In the words of the late, great Gilbert Gottfried, you fool!
Sure. That is fine. Go.
Rest in peace, Gilbert. You were a good man.
Rest in
Alright.
peace, Gilbert Gottfried, indeed.
Let's see. God damn it. I don't like doing this. But I know... I don't like doing this, but I have to. I'm going to pitch 2 counters. And let's get that face down card out of here.
It is the TT.
Thank God.
Okay, so now I'm kind of scared because now you don't have to play around TT anymore.
Okay, let me think. The annoying thing is I need to do a bit of math. That's not enough to finish me off, or finish you off, but it is enough to put the stress on you.
I have 7,000 life points. I'm scared.
That's the thing. You're slightly over what I need. Okay, I'm going to sacrifice Arcana 4-0 the Fool for my Cyber Dragon.
Tribute summon Cyber Dragon. Sure.
The tale as old as time. I will remove a counter and activate Silver Contrails.
That's 31. Yep, that's pretty good.
Battle phase. Into Iron Chain. Dueling Book. There we go.
That's fine. Do you have anything in damage step?
I have not one, but 2 on.
Double honest? What?
So that will raise him up to 8,100, which will mean that you take 5,600 damage.
56. Excuse you! Just
Yeah.
excuse you! That makes sense.
Unfortunately, it's not anywhere near enough to wipe you out. However, I need to get you at least close enough to where I can find a way to kill you later. And especially because, let's be honest, you're playing Monarchs. If I dump 1 Honest, the chances of you having a monster that I can Honest over again is unlikely, because it's more likely you're just going to drop a Zaborg or a Caius and screw me over. So
then, I am unsure how I am alive.
That was a statement and a half.
Stand by, main. I am going to T-set and pass.
Okay. Draw. Stand by. Main. And here's where we have a bit of a predicament, because looking at your graveyard, Mirror Force is gone, TT is gone, but your Dimensional Prison is not gone. Battle. Do I want to... See, this is actually one of the toughest decisions, because if that is Dimensional Prison, I am going to be in a world of hurt. But at this point, I have to go for it. Alright, let's hit your face down that I do not know of.
It's Tomato.
Tomato, okay.
What do I want to get with Tomato?
That is slightly more problematic than if I had just hit Dandy, because Tomato means tuner.
Yes, it does mean tuner. Tomato does indeed mean tuner, and you're gonna get to see a new tuner, too.
Ooh. Oh, you crafted a zombie.
It was so hard for me to not craft Stardust Dragon with this.
I don't blame you. That's a really tough decision. Alright, main phase 2, I am going to set a card, and I will pass the turn.
Man, I am so scared. Draw for turn, standby phase, main phase. Wow, this is rough. Problem is, I really would like a way to make a 7, but I don't think I have a way to make a 7 as a problem. So here's what we're gonna do. I'm going to flip summon my Dandy.
Okay.
Is this good?
Let's see. That's good.
I'm gonna sink.
Okay. I'm going to assume Cataster.
No, it's Android.
Android, okay. I forgot you had
Trigger Dandy.
Okay. Ooh, and are you going to... Okay, so are you going to Plague?
The problem is, I needed to make Android without triggering the Dandy.
I see.
And I haven't normaled either.
No, you have not.
So I'm going to set a monster, and I'm going to pass the turn and gain 600 life points.
Okay. Interesting. So you opt not to attack me. Standby, main. Fortunately, that does not help me nearly as much. Well, actually, it could. Question is, what is your face down again?
It's only 1 back row. What could it be? How do you think I feel? You have 3 back row. I'm terrified. I'm at 3. I have 3 back row to contend with, and I'm at 2,000 life points.
Fair. Okay.
Just 1 false move, and I lose the game.
Okay. This will at least let me be a little safe-ish, I guess. Okay. So I'm going to put this card back on top of my deck.
Oh, for Plague Spreader?
To bring back Plague Spreader.
What do you have? Because Black Rose is limited. Do you have maybe Life Transfer?
I will sink.
Oh, do you have Scrap Archfiend?
I do not have Scrap Archfiend. I do have Psychic Life Transfer.
That's what I figured.
Is this good?
That is fine.
I will declare. I will banish my Krebons for cost.
To gain 1,200 life points.
Put myself a little bit in a better position. Then I'm going to...
You have no hand, at least.
Battle phase. Attack magical android? Any response?
No, that's fine. Do you have a silver contrail set?
I do not. I have a Book of Moon.
Oh, you have a Book of Moon. Yeah, that's...
And I will set your android.
Yeah, that'll kill it.
And I will end my turn.
This game is so tense.
I'll add my counter.
Standby phase, main phase. I am just going to set a back row.
More back row. Okay.
And I will pass the turn.
Alright. Draw. Standby. Main.
I'm still up a game, and I'm still scared. So if I do lose this game, I do have a game 3, but I'm so terrified of your back row.
I'm going to set a card and pass.
Draw for turn. Standby phase. Main phase. Alright. Well, I think I'm running out of time. So I think I need to... If I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this now. I'm going to tribute both the fluff tokens.
What are you dropping now?
Just an Earthbound Immortal.
Oh, right. I forgot you've got him, too.
I only have one, though.
True.
Alright.
Alright.
Is this okay?
Summon's good.
Battle phase.
Okay.
3k direct.
I will negate attack.
That's fine. Battle phase is over. Go.
Alright. Draw. Standby. Main.
Okay, so that leads me to believe something about your back row that I was terrified of before.
Anything I can do here? I think I'm going to set a card. What is your face down monster? I obviously can't try to go after the big old boy here. So.
No, you can't even attack him. Even if you had a silver contrails, you can't attack him.
So I think I'm going to switch him or her. I'm not even sure. I think it's an android at this point. Either way, I'll set life transfer to defense and I'll pass the turn.
Alright, draw for turn. Standby phase, main phase. Go to battle phase.
Alright.
3k?
I have another negate attack.
That's fine. I'm gonna set another back row and pass the turn.
Ooh. Alright. Draw. Standby. Main. Well, okay. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to activate Life Transfer's effect, banish Krebons to gain 1,200 life.
Yep, go to 58.
Because I need to survive another big boy hit.
You do.
And at this point, Krebons is not going to do anything for me. I will end my turn.
Draw for turn, standby phase, main phase. Battle.
And we are both maxed out again.
Let's try this again. Does it go through this time?
Door 3 says no.
Kidding me? He's on triple negate attack? Alright, main phase 2. Time to show you that I have one.
That you have... Oh, okay.
Take 8. Go.
Alright. Draw. Standby. Main.
Are you just waiting for a speed spell?
Kind of, sort of. I had this one last turn. I just needed to have enough to go for 3 rounds.
Yep. Yep. What a game, dude. What a game, dude. Yeah.
Ooh, boy, that was close.
Yeah, that was a great game. Holy shit. That triple negate attack saved your ass, by the way. And people say turbo duels aren't exciting. Holy shit.
Yeah, that was a... God, that was a stressful round. You know what? First time in a while we actually got to game 3, too. So you know what? I'll take that.
Yeah, this has been our first game 3 in a while. But I will be on the play.
Alright. Oh, boy.
Good luck, buddy.
Good luck. Goodness.
No kidding. Draw for turn. Standby phase, main phase. I will set 1, 2, 3. Go ahead.
Alright. Draw.
Finally, I get this in my opening hand.
Not surprised. Main one. As much as it sucks, at least that makes me less terrified of the back row, because that's one less thing to worry about. I think I'm just going to mimic you, to be honest. And I ain't afraid of no imperm column.
Well, when we get to
anyway.
the point where I have to play around imperm. Standby phase, main phase. I'm just gonna set another monster. Great gameplay we have here.
Yep. Standby. Main.
I mean, to be fair, these both seem to be pretty slow control decks.
Kind of. Let's see. Alright, let's run out ourselves behind door number 1.
It's dandy.
Crap. Okay. Main 2. I think that's it, so I'll go to end phase and I will mill 2 cards. Oof.
Draw for
Cyber Dragon actually
turn.
kind of hurts to see.
Standby phase. Main phase. Well, unfortunately for you, I do have him. Opening hand!
Thinking. Yeah, you know what? I want to give him a ring.
Nah.
Fuck. Okay. Damn, that sucks. Alright, I get my card.
You do get your card. You only have one set. So I am actually going to beat over the Jane with Kokapakapu.
Of all the times for me to have Saku finally.
Jesus Christ. The one card. Main phase 2, set a back row.
Alright.
Go.
Draw. Standby. Main. So you're up to 11. Alright. I will drop 2. Let's MST the face down.
That's torrential.
I am glad I did that. MST pops the TT, and now...
Am I dead?
No, you're not dead. But you know how you had yourself a big boy?
Oh, you're gonna do this right back to me, aren't you?
Even better. One of my monsters was Stankin.
Yup.
So I get to add a monster. And I think I'll add... This is actually a tough one. I think I'm going to add my Plague Spreader Zombie.
Reasonable.
Battle phase.
Yup. Yup.
And I'll end my turn. Unfortunately, you have 12 speed counters, so I have a rough idea of what's about to go down.
Yep.
So yeah, he goes boom.
The problem is that that's not the only one you have. I have to worry about another one. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to flip summon Spy, trigger Spy.
Okay.
I'm going to get another Spy. I will normal PSC.
Ooh, okay.
Synchro.
Going into Iron
I wish I could make something better than this, but it's fine. It's if that 300 damage matters, I'm going to be upset. 37.
Alright. And I mill 3.
Then I'm going to...
Those are actually some important
I'm going to
ones.
pass the turn.
Okay. So draw. Standby. Main. Of course I see that now, of all times.
That was a big hit, though.
That is. Question is, how do I go from here? It's the real question. I'm going to run out my DD Warrior Lady.
That's pretty good.
Battle. She will clear out the Spy.
300 in.
Main phase 2, I will set a card, and I will pass the turn.
Draw for turn. Standby phase. Main phase.
I like the fact that both of our Immortals just didn't last more than a turn.
They have to be dealt with, and that's something you have to take into consideration in deck building. I am going to... Well, I need to get this thing off the table eventually, so I'm just going to go ahead and rip the Band-Aid off.
Alright, I'll take 1,000 and gets banished.
Then
Admittedly, if I had thought ahead, I could have grabbed Honest instead for that, but oh well.
go.
Alright, draw. Standby. Main. I think I will set a monster and pass the turn.
Draw for turn. Standby phase. Main phase. I'm going to set a monster, then I'm going to remove 4 and show you the speed spell shift down to burn you.
Okay.
Go.
Alright. Draw. Standby. Main.
Life point's getting a little low there, buddy.
They are. I'm gonna set another monster, and I will pass.
Draw for the turn. Standby phase. Main phase. Think it's time. I'm going to go ahead and flip the jar.
Ooh, I don't like that.
That's my Sangan, so we'll finish resolving Cyber Jar. Those are cards. Oh, that's also a card you didn't get to see last game.
Okay.
I actually have to think about what position I want that Spirit Reaper in because I have a tuner. I don't think I'm going to Synchro Summon this turn.
Okay. So these go in, and then...
And then you have your Jane and your Fool.
I think I'm going to take them both and put them in defense.
Sensible.
Because I don't know what all you're about to do.
I can't get over the other monster with Krebon, so there's no real point in attacking. I think I'm just going to remove 4, show you the same speed spell I did before. Deal you 8.
So I burn.
Then, to make sure Black Rose doesn't completely destroy me, I'm going to just set 2 cards face down. I haven't normaled yet either, so I'm going to do that. And I will pass the turn.
Okay, so I'll draw, standby, main. This is a challenge. Here's the real question now. Actually, not necessarily.
12 speed is also really scary.
If I can do what I think I'm going to do, this is going to be hilarious, and I think I'm going to win.
Let's see it.
So, first, I'm going to flip Jane.
Jane up.
Gale.
Gale is fine. Is this Black Rose?
This is Black Rose. Do you have a Solemn? Do you have a Blackhorn? Do you have anything like that?
I have a Call of the Haunted for Dandy.
Okay.
So then everything's going to go away, and I'm going to get 2 tokens.
Okay. And you get to see a new card of mine, Foolish Burial.
Oh, you picked up a Foolish.
That was the other card I ended up picking up from the tournament pack reprint, tournament pack slot.
Yeah,
so
Foolish is sick.
That's part of the reason why I was like, yeah, I'll take the Krebons now. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, Foolish is sick.
I have 12 speed counters, and I fully intend to use them.
Oh, what do you have for 12 speed counters?
So I'm going to spend 10. And, fun fact about the Earthbound Immortals.
Oh, do you have Monster Reborn?
I have Monster Reborn.
That's
and
pretty good.
I will take back my Earthbound Immortal Kokapakapoo.
Yup. Well, I have 1 turn to deal with that.
Battle. I will activate Speed Spell Silver Contrails.
Do you have double Speed Spell Silver Contrails? Oh my god.
And attack for 5.
That is... game over.
The streak has finally broken.
Good game, buddy. So, I was actually I anticipated you might go into Black Rose after the Cyber Jar, so I actually didn't set the Mirror Force. I'm a little disappointed I didn't get to do anything with this card either. I kind of remembered I had this in my collection, and this is really good in Monarch.
It really is. I actually have an Ultimate Offering too. I just haven't had a good excuse to play it lately. But dude, I can't believe I actually did that.
Okay, so game 2, when I wasn't attacking with the Magical Android into your Cyber Dragon, when I was at 2000, I was specifically playing around Magic Cylinder, because I know you have a Magic Cylinder.
I gotcha.
I wasn't sure if you had even included it in your deck, but I had seen you playing it recently, so I figured there was a possibility that it could be in there. So my plan was to get up to 2600 with a Magical Android, or get a negate before I started attacking. And when I Tribute Summoned the Kokapakapoo, I had a Solemn Judgment set, just in case you had a Magic Cylinder or a Suckerit's Wormer or something for it.
And I actually do have Magic Cylinder in here, I just never saw it. Oh, you got a Lightning Tricorn. Nice. And the Thunder Unicorn. 2 of them.
Those are all Ultras, by the way.
Yeah.
Of course I can't get the good Ultras. I got a Scrap Dragon, too.
Ooh, that's a good one. See, the other one I got, and kind of was tempted to use it if I could. I actually pulled an Ultimate Exxon Kicker, which I have Thought Ruler, so I could use that for this.
That's actually pretty good for a psychic boss.
It's just a matter of, do I actually want to take the resources for that?
Because you have to make that with, I believe, Thought Ruler plus Krebon specifically. But oh my god, I think this might actually be our best set yet.
I think so. Also, you know what? I've decided, as much as I've enjoyed hiding it and trying to wait to spring it on you, I think I might as well just show this off now after all this time. So you know I have the Colossal Fighter from the deck, right?
Do you have another one?
I don't have another one, but do you remember Colossal Fighter OTK?
Are you fucking kidding me?
That was
When'd you get that?
That was the very, like, I pulled a set. I ended up getting 6 packs of Duelist Pack Yusei at some point.
That's an Ultra!
That was the very last pack I pulled.
That's an Ultra! Come the fuck on!
I've been waiting, trying to find a way to bring this out and use it on you, but I just can't. I've just had so much trouble getting... One, every time I got a chance to get an 8, I've always needed Stardust or something better. And then, on top of that, trying to get a 4 out of here as well is also a problem.
4s are actually kind of hard to make.
They really are. Like, that's the thing. That's why part of why I have the Fool in here, because the Fool and Gale, or Psychic Commander, can make Armory Arm in a pinch. And then it's also like I don't really have any other 2s to work with, unfortunately, besides Plague and Krebon, so that one's kind of off the window. If I had Dandelion, it'd be a lot easier to pull that off, but...
Alright, so... Wow, what a set. Oh my god. I get the feeling that with how many products we had to discuss and the length of this duel, I think this is going to be our longest episode yet.
Oh, very possibly.
But let's go ahead and not keep them waiting any longer. We have a lot to talk about still.
Okay, so now that we're into the prize section, we're going to go ahead and start things off by showing... We're going to actually start with the bands, since I have 2 band tickets I can redeem.
So those of you who are unaware of why DemonBattler is getting 2 band tickets, you might recall that all the way back in Crimson Crisis, there was a Gladiator Beast Murmillo that was activated improperly and completely changed the outcome of the duel. The reason why I'm giving him 2 band tickets specifically is, in addition to what we had discussed back then, is because the gravity of that duel in the promos that were on the line. One of the promos that was on the line for that duel was Dandelion. I debated on just removing it from my collection completely. But ultimately, what the 2 of us decided on at that point was, in addition to the remedy that we discussed back in Crimson Crisis, we are going to give a DemonBattler 2 additional band tickets and an additional spin on the an additional spin of the type that he was due. So DemonBattler will be getting a total of 2 regular spins and then 2 catch-up spins. 2 for the...
Well, I actually cashed in the bonus catch-up spin, and that's actually where my Krebons came from, so...
Right.
So I did that one beforehand, because I figured as long as it wasn't a ban, it wasn't going to be that big a deal to do it early.
Okay, so you have 2 ban tickets. What card would you like to ban?
Okay, so the first one honestly shouldn't be all that surprising. I'm going to go after Dimensional Prison.
I am not surprised at all that you're going after D-Prison, because you might actually recall that there was the Machina structure deck, and that had a 2nd copy of Dimensional Prison.
Yep, and I already have enough trouble dealing with 1. I sure as hell do not want to deal with 2.
That doesn't surprise me at all, so I guess we get to go back to Sakuretsu Armors and Stardust Dragon being king.
And now for the second one, and this is actually a funny one, because this is probably one of the last cards you would expect me to hit, but I'm going to actually do something for the sake of the health of the game, and for the sake of our final Turbo Duel back later in Storm of Ragnarok. Let's shove Earthbound Immortal Kokopakapu back into the dirt where he belongs.
Interesting!
Yeah, it's giving up 2 of my big guys, but notice, we've focused our decks on the Turbo Duel side, specifically in trying to get Kokopakapu out as quickly as possible. And the thing is, he's such a pain in the butt to deal with in general, so it's like, you know what? Let's just clear him out. Let's just keep the Earthbound Immortals out of the game. They've had their moment in the sun. They've had their fun. They've done really well. and it's time to retire them with some level of dignity. So
fair.
With that being said, Earthbound Immortal, Kokopakapoo, you have done a lot of good for me over the years, but it's time for your rest.
Indeed. And if you really want to play an Earthbound Immortal, you still have your one copy of Wiriko Churrasca.
And my Kokoraya, too, which I am going to keep them in the trunk for the time being, so...
But now that that's taken care of, we have 5 pretty powerful promos to discuss that came from a variety of sources. We have Obelisk the Tormentor, a second copy of Gore's, Elemental Hero Absolute Zero, which is huge.
Oh, yeah.
And then we have Alector, Sovereign of Birds, and Golem Dragon, which is not a great card. The rest of these are pretty strong, though, so I just have to ask you, since you won the duel, you get your first crack at these list cards, so what do you want?
Honestly, this is a tough one, because the thing is, Absolute Zero is probably the quote-unquote best card out of this, but at the same time, this requires me actually focusing on Warriors again, and I really don't want to bother with that. So I think I'm actually going to go ahead and snag the Gores in order to have it fair to where we both have one. So we both have to be paranoid.
That is fair. And I have had Gores in and out of my deck. It's just a matter of figuring out what slot I wanted to put it in. And I do agree with you about Ab-Zero. It's going to be tough to specifically build around this. And really, until we get a lot of the really good hero support that comes out later on, Ab-Zero is going to be very difficult to make. So I'm actually going to do a little bit of looking ahead towards some of our later formats, and I'm going to grab this copy of Obelisk the Tormentor.
Admittedly, I was tempted to pick up Obelisk afterwards, but at the same time, yeah, he's going to be strong later, especially once we hit some later formats, but...
Specifically, Obelisk the Tormentor is extremely strong during Pendulum format.
Because you could get his materials out, you could get the tributes out pretty quickly.
It's super easy, especially with the games going long. You just peel Obelisk off the top of your deck and go, PS5 Tribute Summon.
If I end up at a point of having to ban Obelisk, that is going to be a meme.
Indeed. So, do you want the Ab-Zero?
I kind of think I'd want to take the Alector instead, because one, it's a winged beast, so that actually works kind of well with Black Wings as well. And the fact that it kind of works almost like it almost works as a there could be only one kind of thing, because it keeps your opponent from really wanting to have multiple monsters as the same attribute out, and it can also just negate a card for a turn, which is pretty powerful.
That ain't bad. It is a kind of a soft there can be only one, which is nice. And I did have my eyes on this card, but I think Ab-Zero is going to be better long term. Especially because you might recall that I have a couple copies of Super Poly.
Right.
So I guess that leaves me with this Golem Dragon that's not going to be terribly useful unless we can get multiples, which is pretty unlikely, although it does get a reprint in a Turbo Pack. But with that, I am going to take my one gold box, and hopefully I get what I want. This was such a critical duel, and it was pretty heartbreaking to lose, not gonna lie.
Yeah, I understand that. So so you're really leaving me with Ab-Zero?
Well, I guess all good things have to come to an end, but what a critical duel to lose. There's been a couple critical duels that I've ended up losing, and DemonBattler is going to get 3 mini boxes of this, and we only get 1, but let's go ahead and see what we wind up with. We're looking for some specific commons, and because we only get 1, I think I am going to slow roll this. So let's go ahead and go through, see what we wind up with. We did get a Mally, but I don't think that's going to help us because we need 2. Really looking for some of the Amazoness stuff and the Blackwing stuff. Goblin Zombie's not bad. Aegis of Gaia is kind of cool. Oh, Chainmaster! That's a big one to hit for the Amazoness archetype, but I would really like to see the Blackwings. We will have to re-roll this Sirocco, because that Sirocco is banned. Alright, got the 3rd Bora. That's huge. I'd really like to see a Shura. Nova Summoner's kind of cool. I don't think we'll be able to use... Oh, Shura, thank God. We have a full Blackwing core now. We have 3 of everything, so we can play full power Blackwing. And because of the 3 gold boxes that DemonBattler is going to be opening, I'm thinking that for Starstrike Blast, we could very well end up playing a Blackwing Mirror. Swordswoman is big for the Amazoness deck. Magical Arm Shield's kind of cool, but a little bit dated. Amazoness Archers, I think we have copies of already. Kalute, whatever. Alright, let's see what our 3 gold rares are. There's a lot of hits, but also a lot of misses. Number 1. Another Plague Spreader Zombie! That's so good! Plague Spreader Zombie is limited, but it will get put to 2 and eventually to 3 soon, so having a second Plague Spreader is really strong. Alright, our second gold rare is Icarus Attack, yuck. And our third gold rare, Stardust Dragon! Let's go! Oh my god, that could not have been any better. Let's go! Whoo-wee! Can't get any better than that. Wow. We got pretty much everything we wanted. So I'm going to have a lot of new considerations for the next episode, which is going to be Star Strike Blast. That's a big set with a big hand trap at low rarity that won't be good now, but it'll be much better later on once we get to Lynx. So that'll wrap it up for today's episode of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Progression Series. What a great episode this has been. But next time we open Star Strike Blast. Until then, see you around.